All right, everyone, welcome back. Happy weekend. Connor, thank you for joining us again as well.
Thank you, Scotty, for having me.
And episode 98. So I'm waiting on, I actually emailed Forex Tester about a giveaway thing, so they're going to get back to me. They did reply, but not with an exact thing of what we could give away. So, stay tuned for episode 100, which will be coming up. So, nearly been 2 years of this stuff, so holy dooly. Now, first off, Euro Swiss short. So, Connor, you're short here. You were discussing it. It's about pretty much a break even now.
Yeah,
And
I'm,
this is,
uh, I'm quite disappointed. It's sort of broken like the trend line that was going down. It was looking good.
yeah,
Uh, of my like stop loss is like at like 1.13646. So
yep,
I've got
yep.
like a little bit of breathing space, but it's not following the lower highs sort of classic trend that I like to see. However, it could keep going down. I'm not going
The
to hold
weekly's not
out.
too bad. Like the weekly chart, it's still sort of, it didn't make a miraculous comeback at all with how it closed for the week. So it's certainly, like you said, it's just, yeah, it did have a little bit of a recovery, but the um the euro is pretty weak against the US dollar as well. So and the Swiss is pretty weak against the US dollar. So it's sort of it's interesting how this is behaving, but it's not. And I've got the daily candle up here. It's sort of an indecisive sort of close on the Friday. So yeah, definitely. And like you said, the stops in place, which is very important, guys. So if you're listening to this, you're like, what's a stop loss? And you're trading, probably stop trading until you work out, what's going on. I see a few people they don't like the stops, and it's like they just sort of trade by, however they feel, and I'm like, wow, that can get very dangerous, everyone. So please don't do that. Okay. So that's that in place. So like kind of said, guys, it's just floating around break even. The stop hasn't been moved. Was it moved a little bit, or it hasn't been
No, it
touched
just
yet?
hasn't been moved. So I'm
Yeah.
risking 2%.
Yep. Yeah. 2%. Okay. Okay. All right. What I'll do now, guys, we'll go from Euro Swiss. So I'm currently long pound yen, and for the fundamental people out there, you're probably thinking little bit of a risk, and I understand the vulnerability. I just sort of saw the setup and I detached myself from all the craziness. I'm like, you know what? I'm happy with this setup. I got in here just with the thumbs up, a little symbol there. So, and yeah, it's the stops at break even. So there's not a lot of stress. I didn't really have any expectations for this. I just thought it wouldn't do too much. It would just sort of fade away and then just sort of flatline, waiting on some news, but it sort of pushed a little higher. So I'll take that. Um, it's important to not really expect it to go in your favor, because then you sort of get stressed if it moves against you. And so, a little bit of positivity. So we'll take that where we can get it as traders, and um, control yourself when it's like this, so you don't sort of go, take money too soon, because that's really bad. And it's a weak area of mine. So that's that trade there. And the Aussie Kiwi. So the Aussie Kiwi has emitters. So I got in here, and man, it just sort of like did a little big U and just did nothing. And then,
Like a teacup.
yeah,
Drop,
that's what
teacup.
it,
Yeah,
it did. And then,
it's got
it's
the handle. Yeah,
it's
it's not too bad, but they have that teacup trade. I've never taken one, but
no,
uh,
just looking at yeah, I can see it's interesting, isn't it? How
be off to the moon now.
it sort of held above that support level. It really just kept trying to like bounce, and it didn't. And I thought this was going to be a losing trade. I think I even made a video about it a little while ago saying like I've just sort of so it's just slow. So there's nothing much exciting to report there. Um, all right, and Connor and I were discussing off air the Euro CAD. So I'll just bring that up as well as a bit of a talking point. So we do have a little bit to discuss about this one here. So, does this interest you at all as well, Connor, or is not
Was
so?
interested on the, although I've missed it, I was interested on the daily because it had like
Yeah.
a
Yep.
kangaroo tail pop up, like on a trendy kangaroo tail.
Yeah, yeah. Look at
It's
that.
had a nice sort of bottom down. I don't know if it's reading the same on your chart, but
No, I see that. Yeah, I see what you mean.
on
Yeah, okay, so you've
the
missed
4 hour, it's got some great downward momentum.
yeah.
So it's looking good. It's
Yeah.
something that the sort of trade, which is familiar with what you like to take, which is more just
Yeah.
sort of like a downward momentum with a big
Yep. Yep.
bullish candle. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I like that. That looks all right. Now, so for the people who are sort of might be also into trends and everything like that, a high time frame, I won't take a trade Monday. I just want to see what it's doing, and then we sort of go from there. So don't just sort of rush into it headstrong and just sort of sell this on Monday. That's really you're not really playing the probabilities in your favor. You just want to see what's going on and everything. But it's definitely a unique pair, the Euro CAD. You can sort of avoid the craziness a little bit of all the pound stuff. And with the government shutdown, although it's been interesting, because I didn't look at the charts much yesterday, but I had a look, before we started recording this, and the USD yen and the USD Swiss are they've been sort of steadily rising a little bit. So it's interesting how they're sort of doing that. So we'll see, what happens in the next week if there's a potential sort of play there. But it's again, you're sort of a little vulnerable to old man Trump and all the shenanigans that go on. What did I see? There was more Michael Cohen chatter about Michael said, I think that was his old lawyer or something.
yeah.
And he said that
Trump
something
told him
about
to lower,
yeah.
like that.
Oh my God. But then if they impeach him, it's to do with the Senate. They can like say go ahead with it, but the Senate is still in control by the Republicans, I think, is what I heard. So it's going to be a bit of a roadblock for like the Democrats once they're like, let's just impeach this guy. So it's a it's just unreal how it's but he wants that wall and it's still partially shut down the government. So I think it seems, guys, like if you're a fundamental trader, you're thinking to yourself, oh, I can't take this. That's fair enough, but if you're into technicals, you just sort of have to ignore it all, and you have to have no expectations. You just sort of like, this is what it's doing, and trade it as you sort of see. So, oh, you know what we didn't talk about? I'll just look at silver just quickly because I didn't look at that.
Silver,
Oh, okay, no, yeah,
silver's going down. I mean, it sort of correlates with gold a fair bit. If gold goes down, then you watch.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, because it actually that daily candle looks very similar to gold as well. Because I think I was talking about this a while ago about a possible breakout, but you weren't interested in it. It's very fair to make that call because it was not a fake out, but it wasn't. It didn't have any conviction. It was just sort of like moved a little bit.
It's a smaller market than gold.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, big
So,
time.
and a lot of the time, it's like it's traded like the poor man's gold sometimes.
Yeah.
And so the volatility seems to be like go a little bit more. Like if gold slumps, then silver slumps that little bit more. If there's a breakout, then silver, a day later, 2 days later, or a few hours later, can always sort of you look at silver a lot of the time, and then that's gone broken out. So they correlate together. I think it's because obviously they have the same sort of properties, similar properties as metal, but also too silver's used as an industrial metal. So
that's a good point.
if there's bad news economically, people normally rush to gold. But if there's bad news economically with silver as well, it's a bit more complicated because if it's used industrially, then that may mean it's bad news for silver too.
Yes.
So it's really hard. And like I said, it's just manipulated by the COMEX market's manipulated heavily by JP Morgan.
Yeah. Yep.
Bank, like so. I don't know. Like if you can ride in with what's going on, that's great. But I think put your tinfoil hat on for a second.
Yeah.
Someone gives each other a wink in these markets, and then it just goes down.
It seems too, doesn't it? And it doesn't make sense, and it's sort of against the trend, and it can move quite dramatically, and then the cycles are very hard to sort of pick because you're like, this is looking good, like gold, and then it just sort of like was like, no, and you're like, oh, okay. So it's
well, this is all paper trading too. Like this isn't actually what's being bought physically.
yeah.
So
Yes.
I mean, there's actual data out that China's getting heavy gold.
Mm.
Hoarding gold because they want to hedge against how much US debt they have, because the US can always print themselves out of debt, right?
Yeah. Yep.
This causes inflation. Russia is getting some really big gold stores. So but you never hear this. You never actually see it go on in the COMEX market. So
No, that's correct.
the side, and that's why this sort of stuff is just, if you're looking at look at the technicals.
Yeah. Yep. That's correct. Yeah, because the fundamentals don't reflect what
In
we
these
see on the
markets, they
chart
don't
here.
really reflect what's going on.
No, that's correct. Yeah. So be careful, guys. So look at what the chart's doing here. Like what we're seeing is this market. It's not the actual physical market. So be cautious about, thinking that it all just is going to correlate when not necessarily. So that's a good point, actually. Yeah. And don't be stubborn. Don't just be a stubborn holder and just be like, I'm going to add to a losing position. We strongly don't recommend that. So if you want to be a degenerate, just go gamble a little bit of money. Don't come here and blame everyone. And so be careful. Be very careful. Gosh, I just saw the time, 11 and a half minutes, Connor. Pardon me. So anything else to sort of add trade wise or?
No, that'll do for now.
Yeah, spot on, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks again for watching, and Connor, thank you for joining us. Bye for now, everyone.